25-year run. Fuck they talk about Cabo? What they talking about, man? I ain't been back 12 hours yet. Right, come on.
Venti. You bring the Venti up, man. Shit looking type slick. I don't know, Black.
They both good, but they no good. They stay in the house. Them the house phone. That's the iPhone. That's a real iPhone 4. Cabo, what's up? What they talking about? I like the hat. Chunky on the chest, no homo. Real chunky, man. I will get a couple.
Mase taught me how to rap, and Cam always made sure I was on every single album he had. He was like, boy, once you figure out how to rap the same way you act in these streets, it's going to work for you. Just keep going. And that's all so I always got to give credit to where credit is due and shit like that. It would be no Jim Jones.
This shit ain't no game. They can't play with me too much. I give them the floor to do that because that serves me no purpose. I got too much to worry about, too much to do.
What was your reaction when Camron brought up all these old stories and everything about you?
I laugh, man. I got this thing, man. People laugh at the lies, but the truth always hurt. You know, lies are more entertaining. You heard? You get to laugh, you get the joke, but the truth is a serious thing, no matter how you look at it. The truth is what the truth is.
Every nigga that put hands on you or you get told take you cool with him. You tried to chase French Montana out the game, that ain't work out. Y'all got cool. So cool that you go to his video shoot, pardon me, not his video shoot, his movie. You're sitting in the crowd watching the premiere and they dissing you in the movie. You in the movie getting dissing, you gotta eat it, just sitting in the crowd. Nah, they dissing you in the movie that you went to go see, bro. Every nigga that do something to put pressure on you, you sit there and work it out. But when they got a little genuine heart for you and all that, cool, that's the pattern. If they don't put hands on you, then you can keep going on and on and on. But the niggas who do this, you cool with, and then the niggas who try to handle it sophisticatedly, you keep going on and on like niggas give a f about all that shit, bro. So don't care about none of that shit, man. Don't care a little bit, man. What I'll finish with is this, man. I'm never here to downplay your character. As much as you try to degrade my character for years and push me under the bus and say, I ain't start this and I ain't do that, and you started Pink and you made the Diplomats, which is just... Do you ever hear me talk about when you ran on me when BMF pulled up? When you ran in the hotel, they chased you to the beach. Yeah, they chased you to the beach. You was in the sand. You was getting wet from the water, from the ocean. I don't pump that. I don't pump all that shit because I ain't trying to degrade your character. You know why? Because the revolution was televised. That's why I'm here. That's why I gotta work like that. That's why me and Murder is here. The revolution was televised. Because you talking.
This whole situation ain't just about some old stories crawling back into the light. It runs way deeper than that. It's about how the truth and entertainment stop vibing the same. These days, people don't care what's real. They just want something that sounds good, something they can post, laugh at, and move on from. So when Cam brought up those throwback moments, everyone expected drama, yelling, clapping back, chaos. But Jim, he didn't flinch. He didn't snap. He just leaned back, laughed, and brushed it off like it didn't even matter. But don't get it twisted. Just because someone's laughing doesn't mean they're cool with it. Sometimes that laugh is just armor, a way to hide how deep those words actually cut. Jim knew the game. He knew lies move faster than truth because they're catchy, easy, and made for clicks. He said it himself. Lies travel fast because they're funny, easy, and made for jokes.
I was at Jim album release party, and everybody was over there with Jim, and Cam is standing over here with like 3 or 4 people just looking on and couldn't believe that Jim is the guy. There's no Dipset without Jim. Jim is the gangbanger of the crew. Cam is not a blood. I don't even know if Jewels was. I doubt Freaky was, right? But the set, it comes from the gang, right? All the gang all ran under Jim.
Right.
All of the muscle was Jim. That wasn't Cam. You know what I'm saying?
Cam was like the Jay-Z.
Cam was the artist. Jim and Cam were partners, so to speak. But Jim took the role of being the underboss, the muscle, to make sure that Cam could function and move around and not have a bad reputation or be getting robbed and all this other stuff. So Jim put his he stood front line for anything in regards to Cam. And then he put Dipset in front of Cam. The wedge that became between Cam and Jim is Jim's success. Cam always looked at him as being the star, Jim being Capo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's kind of like Sammy the Bull becoming John Gotti. You know what I'm saying? Gotti's probably gonna feel a little way if Sammy becomes the main man. You know what I'm saying? And in that situation, that's what it is. Jim started to grow as an artist. And as he started to grow as an artist, he started moving from standing behind Cam to he started standing next to Cam. And then it got to a point where he stood in front of Cam.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam was looking him over his shoulder like, yo, what you doing? And then that built the animosity. And by the time Ballin hit, Cam had a gang of animosity and internal hatred. And I know because I seen it, I was there. I felt like he was a fucking hater because like I felt like he was supposed to be happy for Jim. He was under the wing. Jim was the muscle. You get what I'm saying? Jim he's Cam's partner. But he's taking a step back to play the muscle.
People don't fact check, they just share. But truth is heavy. It doesn't sprint through timelines, it lingers, it sits in the room, it changes the energy completely. You can clown around with rumors all day, but when the truth finally walks in, everything shifts. Faces change, voices drop. That's the power of it. It demands respect even from people who act like they don't care. That's why Jim said this ain't no game and nobody can play with his name like that. He's been in this too long, earned his respect, built his story brick by brick. He didn't have to fight for attention, he already had it. So when he let Cam speak, it wasn't submission, it was strategy. Jim didn't need to jump in on every little thing said about him. Real ones know you don't respond to noise when your work speaks louder. That calm wasn't weakness, it was confidence.
Cam and Jim history go back before me. You understand what I'm saying? When I met Cam and Jim, they were super close. So I honestly don't really know Jim being from the Bronx and all that. You know what I'm saying? When I met them, they was in 5H, which is, you know what I'm saying, Jim's apartment, and that's, like, I guess that time was after all the stuff Cam had said already with the Children of the Corn and Jim, whatever he said. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, when I got there, Cam and Jim was like this, super tight. Mase wasn't even in the picture. I don't know Mase like that. You know what I'm saying? Every time I seen Mase, it's been a mutual, you know what I'm saying, respect there. So, that's what that's been as far as me and Mase. You know what I'm saying? As far as, yeah, when I met Cam and Jim, they were already Trump tight and locked in. You understand what I'm saying? The Diplomats was already a name they had. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit there and claim I made the dip, so that's not something I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I made Dipset though, the two. Yeah, I did that. You know what I'm saying?
The kind that only comes from knowing your place in the game. He understood something most people miss. Reacting to everything just gives it power. And Jim wasn't giving his energy to lies, not anymore. But then came the twist, the part that made everything explode again online. Once the stories started circling back through social media, timelines got messy fast. Everybody had an opinion. Everybody claimed to know the real deal. That's when things got tricky, because one line changed everything. Mase taught you how to rap. That wasn't just a throwaway comment. It was a spark that set off a whole debate about credit, legacy, and who really shaped who. The claim wasn't just about music. It was about origin, about respect, about mentorship versus ownership. When people started dissecting those words, they weren't just talking about rap. They were talking about pride, about what it means to give credit where it's due, and about how fragile egos can get when history gets rewritten. Jim made it crystal clear. Mase didn't make him, but he did help shape him. Mase gave him structure, discipline, and that technical edge every real artist needs to survive in the game. But Cam brought something different to the table. He pushed Jim to find his own voice, to move like himself, not like a copy of anyone else. Cam's words were simple, but they hit hard. Rap the same way you move in real life and it'll click.
the internet gets kind of crazy with the lies. The lies
can't-
going crazy on the
I
internet.
mean, well, the
They
lies
say
start from a narrative, and the narrative starts from a person, and you just got to look at it like that. But I've never been one in my life to care about clearing up no rumors. Like that just takes time out of my day from making money. I know who I am. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I stand 10 toes down in everything I believe in. I don't change my pivot, and everybody knows that. I mean, as you can see, I would not be here if I did anything else but be me.
Stop tricking out their freedom, bro. This is gonna be the last time I address this. Whatever you got to say after this, good luck. I wish you luck. I got other shit to do. This is not on my motherfucking plate. Believe what you want to believe, because I got other things to do. You feel me, Murder? I ain't want to snap one of them nose, but yeah, I'm good.
Here goes some popcorn, Stats.
That wasn't control, that was mentorship. It was about building confidence, not creating clones. Jim's always said he gives props where they're due. If someone helped him grow, he'll say it proudly. But that doesn't give anybody the right to twist the story or rewrite history like they were the mastermind behind his whole come-up. That's where this situation cut deep. Teaching someone a few moves doesn't mean you own their success. You can't claim a person's rise just because you were there for a piece of it. Once that line got crossed, the vibe changed completely. It stopped being about friendly nostalgia. It turned into a straight-up battle for legacy. That's when things got messy because fans started noticing a pattern, and they didn't hold back.
But now people got these platforms where, you know, they asking people, so it's like a thin line. So then you got Jim, like, it's just like people say, you can't respond. Even though Jim wasn't attacked, his name was mentioned. You understand what I'm saying? So now it opens the door for Jim to say something back. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? With these podcasts and like that. So it opens the door, and Jim chose to, you know, say why just on his dick. You know what I'm saying? That's how Jim chose to carry it. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, Cam chose to carry it the way Cam chose to carry it, and you have what you have now. You know what I'm saying? All I can say is Jim and Cam are very competitive. You understand what I'm saying? They've always been competitive, and it got to the point to where, you know, they had to be competitive against each other. I really looked at podcasts the other day. I was watching a bunch of podcasts. I'm like, it's crazy how all these old stories are getting everybody into so much trouble. These are just the old stories. Even like all that Cam said was something. He said all that on a live he did before, or pretty much like he did. You know what I mean? With him and Jim had some words. You know, they weren't on the best of terms years ago. So, you know, it's just new to the new listeners. You know what I'm saying? And the new internet fans and the new people that are on, you know, these podcasts and listening to these podcasts. So, you know, this is just like a double back of something that happened a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, did this again? You know what I'm saying? Regardless of, like I said, you know, because I have my own issues with, you know what I mean? Behind the scenes, or whatever the case may be. We all probably have our own issues behind the scenes with whoever, but, you know.
Suddenly, people began throwing Jim's name around, connecting him to rumors that he tried to push French Montana out of the game. And when that didn't work, people said he switched up and acted cool like nothing ever happened. The timeline went wild, everyone debating if there was truth behind the whispers or just recycled internet drama. But it didn't stop there. Things got more awkward when Jim was seen at movie premieres and public events, just chilling in the crowd while shots were being thrown on screen. Yeah, real subliminals, real tension, right there for the world to see. And Jim? He just sat there, calm, collected, not flinching, not reacting, like it didn't faze him at all. To some folks, that looked like pure confidence, a man unbothered by petty shade. But to others, it looked like he was swallowing disrespect in front of everyone. Imagine that moment, sitting there, lights dimmed, crowd watching, and hearing jabs aimed straight at your name while cameras flash all around. Most people would have stormed out or said something, but Jim didn't move an inch. That calm made people question, was it strength or was it silence out of pride? Either way, the internet ate it up. Clips circulated, people dissected his body language, the memes came fast, and every little detail got spun into another headline. This wasn't just a misunderstanding anymore. It became a test of image and respect. Folks wanted to know, where's the line between staying composed and letting people play in your face? For Jim, this wasn't about proving himself. It was about standing tall without giving the chaos more oxygen. Still, that silence spoke volumes, and everyone watching could feel the tension building under the surface, ready to explode again at any moment. And the real argument was never just about French. It ran way deeper than that. It was about how Jim handles pressure when the spotlight gets hot. The claim floating around was simple but bold. When it's real tension, things get smoothed over behind closed doors, but when it's just talk, the back and forth never stops. That idea hit hard because people started to question, does Jim pick and choose his battles based on who's involved? That's exactly why this moment blew up and got people talking nonstop. And this time, the internet made everything 10 times louder. Podcast culture changed the whole game. Once a name gets dropped, the door flies wide open. It doesn't even have to be a diss. Just a mention is enough to set the internet on fire. People grab their popcorn, rewind the clip, and start breaking down every word like detectives. That's the world we're in now, where one little conversation becomes the headline of the week.
Mase need to go on a diet. He need to get his life together. He need to go to the doctor and get a physical. He looked terrible, bad body, back ass. He look big around the neck, waist look crazy. I'm body shaming his. You heard? He need to go get his together, get on the treadmill, do some push-ups, do something. You heard? Especially for playing with me.
Jim wasn't directly attacked, but his name landed right in the middle of the mess. And in today's era, that alone is enough to make you respond. That's how these platforms move, fast, reckless, and built for clicks. One comment gets taken out of context, and before sunrise, it's everywhere. So Jim decided to handle it his own way. He didn't hide or let rumors spin out of control. He stood firm, confident, and spoke on it in his tone, not theirs. Camron had his own method too, cool, calculated, a little slick with the delivery. Both men picked their lanes, and from that point on, the internet took over. Clips got sliced, reactions got exaggerated, and suddenly, what happened years ago looked brand new again. People started acting like they just discovered the story, even though it had been told 100 times before. That's the thin line every public figure walks on. If you stay silent, folks say you're guilty. If you speak up, they call it drama. There's no winning, just surviving the cycle.
You was a fan. You begged us. You are a fan, a fan. So you can sit around and act like you've been around all this Harlem and everything. You ever see somebody from Harlem try to act like they from Harlem so bad that you got to keep saying, I'm from Harlem? From Harlem, know who's from Harlem. You don't have to keep saying you from Harlem.
Jim Jones didn't start this storm, but once the mic opened, there was no turning back. Every word became content. Every pause became speculation. Social media thrives on moments like that. People love to watch things unfold, especially when history and ego are mixed in. But here's the thing, this wasn't just a personal rift anymore. What started as a conversation between two men turned into something bigger, a shift in power playing out in real time. The audience wasn't just watching, they were participating, choosing sides, creating new narratives out of old memories. Suddenly, the whole culture felt the ripple. And now, people weren't just asking who said what. They were questioning who controls the story, who gets the last word, and who really holds the influence when the cameras start rolling. That's when the game stopped being about music and became about media dominance, and everyone could feel the balance starting to crack. From day one, the roles were crystal clear. Camron was the face, the artist, the charisma, the spotlight that lit up every room. Jim Jones, he was the muscle, the backbone, the one keeping everything running smooth while holding down the front line. He made sure the moves got made, the brand stayed strong, and the streets respected the name. For a long time, that balance worked perfectly. Cam created the vision, and Jim protected it like armor. G always stood behind Cam, holding the line so the dream could grow bigger than Harlem itself. But somewhere along the way, the energy started to shift. Jim began leveling up as an artist, dropping verses, building his sound, stepping into his own lane. And that's when things got complicated. Fans started paying attention, not just to Dipset, but to Jim Jones himself. Harlem wasn't just watching anymore, it was cheering for him.
You say it. We taught you how to rap. How you ran the whole organization. How you made Diplomat. Yeah, you ain't made none of this stuff. You was a fan. That's how you got there originally. Period. I heard the new you did. Yo, you want to come through? Come through. Why? Why are we going to Jomo's house? So, yeah, I would bring some bitches over there to sometime. A little pack maybe.
What started as standing behind Cam turned into standing next to him. And before anyone could blink, Jim was standing out front. And let's be honest, that kind of shift never happens quietly. When the spotlight starts to drift, pride gets tested fast. It's like when the background player suddenly becomes the main event. Somebody's always gonna feel a way. That tension didn't come from hate overnight. It came from something deeper, growth colliding with ego. Two powerful forces trying to coexist under one brand, one legacy, one city's pride. Once Ballin hit, that balance tilted completely. Jim wasn't just the muscle anymore, he was the headline. That track turned him into a solo force, and from that moment, the energy in the room changed forever. But here's the part people hate to admit. The internet doesn't care about the truth. It thrives on stories. Jim always said lies don't just appear out of nowhere, they're built. They start with a narrative, and every narrative starts with someone pushing it. Once that story hits the timeline, it grows legs, starts running wild, and good luck trying to stop it. The truth is, most people watching weren't even there. They just picked sides based on tweets and clips. But Jim, he didn't stop his grind to clear up every rumor that popped up online. He said it himself. He knows exactly who he is. He stands firm in what he believes, and he's not bending for public opinion.
I was the CEO of Diplomats. I made Diplomats with him. I was with him for every bit of his journey. I held him down. I took that position of holding him down.
You are a guardian angel and designer. What the f is you talking about, man? You are not from Harlem. Why do you keep thinking that you are from Harlem, bro? You are not from Harlem. I did not grow up with you, man. Do you remember how we met? Pause. So not met, how you got cool with us? Basically, you heard our freestyles. And you came up to me one day when I was chilling in front of the house. You said, yo, man, I heard the freestyles. Y'all killing shit. More freestyles come out. Y'all heard the new shit you did. Children of the Corn, 12-minute freestyle. Mase, Camron, Cardan, DJ Clue. Google Bloodshed and Camron, Children of the Corn, freestyle. Are you at any of these places? No, you was not there, man. You wasn't there.
While the internet argues about history, he's out there stacking wins, making money, and keeping it moving. That's why Jim laughs instead of reacting. He knows entertaining lies gets clicks, but the truth doesn't need promotion. When you're comfortable in your own skin, you don't chase every headline or comment, you just keep shining. And funny enough, that calm confidence frustrated people the most. Because in a world where everyone's quick to clap back, staying cool under pressure is the boldest move of all. Silence gets twisted these days. People see it as weakness when really it's just someone refusing to play internet games. That's where everything flipped. The whole tone shifted. You could feel the line being drawn in real time. Jim made it plain. This was the last time he was even gonna speak on this mess. Not out of fear, not because of pressure, but because he's got way bigger moves to make. He said this whole situation only sounds louder now because new people are just discovering old stories. These aren't new beefs. They're reruns dressed up as breaking news. What's really happening is podcast culture turned ancient history into fresh drama. Folks who weren't even outside back then are now acting shocked like they just uncovered some secret. Jim explained it clearly. Competition between him and Camron was always there. That energy never vanished. It just shifted lanes. They went from trying to outdo the world to accidentally outdoing each other, and that's where the tension grew roots. At some point, Jim decided to stop feeding it. No more back and forths, no more he said, no more interviews to defend what's already been proven. He told everyone straight up, believe whatever you want, pick your side, and keep it moving. He's not parking his life in comment sections arguing with strangers. He's focused on what's next, not what's old. Because this right here is how history gets dangerous in a new era. When private conversations from years ago turn into clickbait headlines and viral clips for people who don't even know the full story. These platforms don't let anything stay buried anymore. Stories that once lived in quiet studio corners or backstage talks are now broken down on live streams, turned into debates, and used for entertainment. The internet loves to bring ghosts back to life if it means another round of clicks. That's why this whole situation blew up again. It wasn't about new disrespect. It was old moments finding new microphones. And once names got mentioned, all the old rules went out the window. Now silence looks suspicious and speaking up looks messy. That's the dangerous line everyone keeps tripping over. No matter what you do, somebody's gonna twist it. And that's the wild part. It's not even about who's talking louder anymore. It's about who people choose to believe. Some folks hear the stories and laugh like it's all just entertainment. Others feel the truth hit deep because they recognize real emotion behind it. But for a lot of people, it's just noise, content to pass the time. So now it's on you. Drop your thoughts in the comments, say where you stand, smash that like, hit subscribe, and press that hype button so this story keeps spinning. The streets are tuned in, the internet's louder than ever, and one thing's for sure, this saga might be quiet for now, but it definitely ain't done yet.